Hello, Packer fans, wherever you may be. It's time for another edition of the Pack Attack Cast. It is mock draft Saturday. We're going to do a mock draft, or several mock drafts. It's our post combine, pre free agency mock draft. So it's going to be an interesting mock draft because we have to take the snapshot of what a team is right now before free agency and try to figure out what their mock is going to look like. So we're gonna take a look at what the Packers would do without trades, with trades. Maybe we'll do some funky picks just to mix things up a little bit. It's gonna be very interesting. But before we get into that, I got to give a shout out to our brand new sponsor for the channel. Very excited about this. So let's get right into it. Our new sponsor for this episode is going to be Norton VPN. So if you ever find your Instagram hacked, if you ever find someone puts out a very nice, hey, I'm leaving Green Bay video or image, you really are going to regret not having Norton VPN. So we really recommend everybody take a quick look at Norton VPN as our sponsor for today's show. And if you're worried about your Instagram being hacked and putting out really nice things about leaving Green Bay, make sure you've got your updated Norton VPN subscription. So please take a look at it. The information is on your screen right now. All kidding aside, it's been an interesting 12 hours in Green Bay social media as everybody digests the real threat of hacking that is out there. And I think Rashan Gary has really done a service to the rest of society by telling you the true threat of hackers going into your accounts and posting really nice things. So be very cognizant of that. All kidding aside, let's take a look at news and notes around the NFL. I just want to spend a few minutes talking about a couple things that happened here. Obviously, number one, the Ravens have acquired Max Crosby in a blockbuster deal. They're giving up 2 first-round picks for 29-year-old Max Crosby. The Ravens clearly feel that now is their window to get to the Super Bowl, and they're going all in and effing them picks as the Rams made famous, and went for Max Crosby. Now, do I think the Ravens probably overpaid for a guy who's probably on the lower end of his career and seems to be hurt a lot? I am concerned about that for the Ravens. But the good news is Max Crosby is not going to be in the NFC. He's certainly not going to be a Bear, which was a big concern a couple days ago. And he's not going to be in the NFC. So we don't have to worry about Max Crosby until the Green Bay Packers take the field at SoFi Stadium in the Super Bowl. Then maybe we have to worry about Max Crosby. The beauty of it is we played the AFC North last year, so we don't even have to play Max Crosby this year. So hats off to the Ravens for a very bold move, win or lose. And we'll have to see if that develops. Next up, and this is something that really got my antenna up when I saw it yesterday, is Joe Mixon was released by the Texans after an injury-riddled 25 season. And this is interesting to me because I think Joe Mixon could be a sneaky option for the Packers as a backup running back. He's got a lot of juice. Assuming he gets a full medical checkout by the team that signs him. If it is the Packers, they do a great job of doing those medical checks. But if Joe Mixon is healthy, I think he would be a sneaky good lower risk signing for the Green Bay Packers. You could probably get Joe Mixon for a relatively cheap contract, given the fact that he's had injury issues the past couple of years. Anytime a team releases a player that's under contract like Joe Mixon without getting any compensation, you have to wonder if there's a serious medical issue that's going to keep him from being effective. Otherwise, the Texans might have tried to find a trade candidate. But, just something to keep on your radar with free agency. I don't think Joe Mixon is going to be somebody who's signed in the first couple days of free agency. He might linger on into April, May, maybe even June. But he's a player that I would like to keep in my Rolodex, so to speak, if the Packers are in May and June and we don't really have a solid backup on the roster. That's definitely something I would take a look at. The Patriots are trading center Bradbury to the Bears. As we know, Dahlman retired just a couple days ago. The Bears were actually rumored to be in the mix at looking at a couple centers, but it looks like they are going to address their center issue with a signing via trade. They gave up a 5th-round pick for Bradbury. That's probably fair compensation. Dahlman leaving is certainly not replaced by Bradbury. So Bradbury's a solid option. He's not a great option. He's nowhere near to a replacement for Dahlman. But the Bears are trying to get ahead of the market, which I understand, and wrap up their offensive line because they have a couple offensive line players they need to deal with. Offensive tackle Decker asked for release for the Lions. So we've got a lot of NFC North headlines here to talk about. So Decker is a long-tenured Lion. He had some injury issues last year. He talked about retirement. Then he decided he was going to come back. Now he's saying, Lions, I'm kind of done with you. I think what happened here is the Lions probably tried to force a restructure to his contract, and Decker felt that was a lack of loyalty for the Lions after all he's done for them, and now he wants out of Detroit. Now, just because Decker requested a release doesn't mean that the Lions are going to do that. I would expect the Lions to maybe try to find a trade partner for Decker. I doubt that they'll just release him without getting something for him, even if it's a 6th or 7th round pick. And I would expect the Packers to do the same in a similar situation. Like, let's say somebody got hacked and they wanted their release, and you said, "Nah, you know what? I'm going to see if I could get a 6th or 7th round pick for that player." That would be the smart business thing to do. The Bills are deep in a salary cap recovery mode to try to get to where they need to be by Wednesday. So they released a bunch of players. Nobody that really looks particularly interesting to me from a Packers standpoint, but you could see teams trying to make maneuvers to get to that salary cap, which they have to be at by Wednesday. Raiders are releasing Geno Smith. Not a big surprise there. I think Geno Smith got a raw deal. You got to feel for Geno a little bit. He goes to the Raiders. The Seahawks then go ahead and win a Super Bowl. They probably could have won that Super Bowl with Geno Smith because I think Geno Smith is a solid quarterback. And I think they probably could have made a run for the Super Bowl with Geno Smith instead of making the change that they made. But Geno Smith ends up going to the Raiders, missing out on the Super Bowl. Now he's going to be released. Geno's probably going to be looked at as a bridge quarterback, backup quarterback at this stage in his career. I don't know if there's a strong appetite for Geno Smith as a starter. Now, one thing that would be interesting to me is Geno Smith possibly being a short-term bridge for a team like the Colts while they wait for Jones to come back from his Achilles injury. So that might be a situation where Geno Smith could actually end up being a starter. We're going to have to watch that. Kelly, center for the Vikings, retires after 10 seasons. If he wasn't retired, the Vikings probably would have cut him because he's got multiple concussions, and he's on the older edge, and they're very desperate to clear up salary cap for the Vikings. So we'll see what happens there. So that's just a couple news and notes. Now I did post over at Acme Packing Company last night about what my over and under is for the Packers making moves between now and Monday. And I thought the Packers would probably make 3 moves before Monday. That would be releasing Elgton Jenkins, trading or releasing Rashawn Gary because of his obvious security risk. And number 3, possibly trying to do what the Bears did, which is try to get a center before the start of free agency. So we'll see what happens there. I still think Elgton Jenkins is... I would be shocked if come Monday Elgton Jenkins is still a Packer. I'm probably 75 to 80% sure that they'll get release Rashawn Gary before Monday, because the Packers would like to have some maneuver room to make some moves. They only have $8 million in salary cap, and you need about that to sign your rookie class and have a reserve. So basically the Packers don't have any room right now to make a move in free agency. So I would be surprised if we don't see Elgton Jenkins and or Rashawn Gary released before Monday. So we'll definitely be watching that throughout the weekend. If there's any releases, we will jump on it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do some mock drafts for your Green Bay Packers here. 7-round mock draft. This should have been updated for... Let's see. Yes, it's been updated for... Should be updated for the trades, everything that went on last night. Hopefully it was, but that really doesn't impact the Packers too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple mock drafts. We're going to do mock drafts with no trades. We're going to do mock drafts with significant trades. And we're going to do mock drafts where we maybe make some funky picks just to see how the chips fall for the Packers. So let's get right into that right now. Here we go. So let's do our mock draft simulator. First with no trades. So we'll start our draft here. Get down to pick number 52. All right, so pick number 52. We're not doing any trades. This is where things get really hard as far as getting the most value out of the draft. So we've got Chris Bell of Louisville. We're not going to make that our first pick for the Packers. We're definitely not going to take Hulsey, which is a safety. We're not going to take a tight end in the second round. We have much bigger needs. Lawrence is an edge. Keontae Scott is a corner. And according to PFF, that would be a great pick. But of course, he plays slot, and that's not what the Packers need. So we're not going to take that. Jennings Dunker is a tackle. That would be probably a great pick for us here just to get value. It's not the biggest need, but as far as the biggest value for the Packers might be Jennings Dunker. We've got Stukes here, another corner that plays the slot. Not very helpful. We've got a tackle. We've got an edge. We've got a wide receiver. As we go down this list, it's a little frustrating. So we're going to take Ogobnison here, Davidson Ogobnison. He is the biggest solution for a need for the Packers right now. We're really getting hit by value here. We're at pick 52, and we're taking PFF's 67th rated player, so that's pretty big ding on our value. But we're not making trades, so he's the biggest need player that we have. So we're going to go ahead and take Agomnason as a corner. We definitely need corners in this draft, so it makes sense. So we get to pick 84, and again we got Claire tight end, we got Roche a tight end, we have another corner. So do we double up on corners here? Dalen Everett is a player that I've seen consistently drop to us in the third round. Do we double up on corner here and just say we're good at corner for a while? Because I'm not seeing, we've got tackles we could take here. We've got Dante Corleone, who's really falling on a lot of draft boards right now. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and take Dante Corleone as our nose tackle of the future here. Again, a big fall in value because we're not able to move around the draft board here. All right, next up, we've got Botchter, who's a linebacker. We've got Trigg, who's a tight end. We've got Brian Parker, who's a tackle, who might actually be the best value right here as far as what we need. We do need an off-ball linebacker, but I feel tackle's a better value here. So we're going to go ahead and take Brian Parker II from Duke. All right. We are in the 5th round, pick number 20. And Creighton Allen is a player that I've mocked quite a bit to the Packers. Definitely fits a need here. Let's take a look at him. He's 5'11", a little on the smaller side, but he could be a good number 2 running back for the Packers. He's got a lot of juice speed-wise. As you could see, he's got great rushing grades, 91.3, zone grade, 78.7. Yards after contact is definitely above average. Gap grade is really nice. Very elusive running back. So this actually wouldn't be a horrible pick for the Packers if we can't make trades. So let's go ahead and take a running back here in the 5th round. All right, pick 20, round 6. We've got Galadon Roberts, Taron Montgomery, Bishop Fitzgerald. Red Murdoch is an interesting candidate. Let's take a look at Red Murdoch here. We do need a linebacker. 6'1", 240. Great season last year. Run defense grade, 91.3. The Packers could certainly use a player like that. Coverage grade, 86.5, which is very important if the Packers are switching to a 3-4. You want linebackers that can cover. So Red Murdoch definitely fits the bid well there. Very low missed tackle rate of 9.4%. This is actually a great needs pick and a value pick. So we're going to go ahead and take Red Murdoch here in the 6th round. And we're going to get to the 7th round. We've got 3 picks in the 7th round here. We've got Lake McGee as a tight end prospect. 6'4", 250. The run block grade is not great. The receiving grade is pretty good for the 7th round. So that is a strong possibility. We also have Taylon Green, who I really like, out of Arkansas. We do need a backup quarterback of the future. 6'6", 235. He's actually pretty elusive in the pocket. So he would be kind of a Malik Willis-esque type of player. Very good deep grade. No pressure grade is very good. Intermediate grade is excellent. So we're going to take Taylen Green as a backup quarterback of the future. I remember the years where the Packers always took a quarterback every year, and we ended up trading off those players. Those were some great opportunities to get some value by always drafting a player that would sit behind Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers and develop, and then they end up being traded away. So one guy I really like here is Josh Morton. We probably need an additional corner in the room. So I really like Josh Morton in the 7th round. 6 foot tall, 185. Most of his snaps are in the slot. He had a couple snaps in the corner, so he's got some versatility here. Coverage grade is 80. Run defense grade 77. Zone coverage grade 75. This is definitely a value in the 7th round. So I'd be very happy if we got Josh Morton this late in the draft. So we'll go ahead and pick him. And our last pick, Mr. Irrelevant for the Green Bay Packers, at least for this draft. We have not addressed the edge position or the tight end position. So let's look at our tight end options because we really need to add some depth to the tight end room. I will take Riley Nowosky. Let's take a look at Riley here. 6'2", 249. Really good run block grade for this late in the draft in the 7th round. And we know that we have Tucker, who's a great receiver motion player at tight end. But having a number 2 tight end of the future that could both be a good run blocker and a good receiver, especially this late in the draft, Riley Nowosky would be a great option for the Packers in the 7th round. Let's go ahead and take him. All right, now let's take a look at our draft. We're going to get dinged pretty hard because we're not able to move around the draft board. We've got a C+ grade, a B- grade, an A B, a C+, which I think is a little hard for Murdoch in the 7th round. I think that's more of a B move. Taylen Green, B-, Josh Morton, B+, and Nowosky, C+ with a total grade of B-. That is not a great draft. I would be very disappointed for the Packers if that's what we ended up with. So let's take a new mock draft with the ability to make trades, and that's where you can find value if the players you need don't drop where you need them to. So let's take a look at a new mock where we actually do some trades. I'm going to go ahead and start this draft here. All right, so we're at 52. We've got Mason Thomas. We've got Halsey. We've got Eli Stowers. We're having a problem here where we're not getting the players that we need to drop. Right now, I would like to look at corners, and I would like to look at defensive linemen. So Keontae Scott, again, nickel corner, not what we need. Stukes, nickel corner. Ignomison is rated at 67. We've got Big Citrus here at 69. We've got Daryl Jackson. We've got Devin Moore at 81. We've got Draylon Everett at 84. We've got Corleone at 99. These are all players that I think would be great fits, but They're nowhere near the value of pick 52. So what we want to do is look for a trade option here. Best trade option looks like it's going to be the Texans here. So we're going to trade with the Texans. We're going to give them 52. Can we get 69? No. We can get 106. So we're going to trade down from 52 to 59 and pick 106. Let's go ahead and lock that in. That gets us down to 59. And I'm still really not liking the value here. So can we make another trade? We could trade down to 61 here. 61 for 59. Could get 206. Could we get 93? No. Unless maybe we throw in 120. So let's see if we could force this trade. So we would give up 59, get 61. We would pick up 93, and we would give up pick 120. Let's see if that will go through. All right, trade was accepted. Moving down a little bit. All right, we're down to 61 now. Let's take a look at our options here. We got corner and defensive line are my biggest needs, in my opinion. So at this point, I will take Abignoson of Ohio State. Someday I'm going to learn to pronounce his name correctly. But at least we've got a significant better value by moving down the draft board. So let's go ahead and take Ignason. All right. So we're down to 84. Darrell Jackson is still available. We also have Jalen Farmer, who's a guard. We have another corner, but we just picked a corner, so I think doubling up with two corners here would be a possible waste of resources. So let's take a look at Darrell Jackson here. 6'5", 337. Run defense, 81.3. Pass rush win rate, 5.8%. Run stop rate, 8.9%. So this is definitely a great potential to be a nose tackle for the Packers. Really like the size. Really like his experience in both the A-gap and the B-gap. And also a little outside over tackle. So I would actually go ahead and take Darrell Jackson here. If it's a clear need, especially if we switch to a 3-4. All right, we get to pick 93. We've got a guard available. We've got a quarterback available. We've got linebacker. We've got tackle, which would be interesting here. We've got definitely linebacker and tackle is, in this part of the draft, really the best values. So we could look at Anthony Hill here. Decent run defense grade. I feel like we could do better than Anthony Hill. We've got Markel Bell here as a tackle. Great pass block grade. Great zone grade. Very solid pass block, net pass block grade. Don't love the run block grade, but we know the Packers really try to emphasize pass blocking with their offensive line. So, do we take Bell here? It's in between Bell or Hill. How about Keyshawn Elliott here? Keyshawn Elliott would be interesting at linebacker. No, we're going to do a Packer pick through and through right here. We'll take Markel Bell, tackle from Miami. I also like the fact that he has a very pronounceable name. Always a plus. All right, now we get to 106. Now we picked up a lot of picks by moving down a couple times. I do like Keontae Lawson. Carson Beck, way too early for us. Will Lee. Okay, this is interesting. All right, so Will Lee is a great corner that would be a good fit for the corner system. The quarter system, if we are switching to the quarter system, Will Lee would definitely be an interesting fit right here. So we got Keontae Lawson, 6'2", 228. Good run defense. Coverage grade is okay. Missed tackle rate, I don't love that at 16.3. This is a solid linebacker option. We need a Quay Walker replacement. He's played a little in the slot, so he's has some ability to play some coverage corner. Most of his time is in the box. So, great program, obviously, at Alabama. Let's take a look at Will Lee here, though. 6'1", 189, a little small for the Packers weight-wise. Man coverage grade, very good for this late in the draft. Coverage grade is okay. Yeah, this is a tough choice here. I'm actually going to go with Deontay Lawson here as a Quay Walker replacement. All right, we get down to pick 158 here. All right, we've got Ott of Oklahoma. We've got Katron Allen of Penn State again. We've got Albert Regis, which is a great defensive lineman this late in the draft. Great run defense grade. 6'1", 317. Add some bulk to the defensive line. That's certainly a possibility. We've got Logan Jones. Logan Jones is interesting here because we do need a center for the future. Some tough choices here. I'm going to go ahead and add Creighton Allen here again because I do think the Packers need some depth at running back right now. And you better do it before you need it. The Packers are trying to draft a year ahead of time. So could this be a starter of the future for the Packers? We'll go ahead and take Creighton Allen here. A lot of good choices there. But I do like adding a running back into the mix. So let's do that. All right, pick 200. And so far our picks are corner, defensive line, tackle, linebacker, and running back. Just to give you guys a refresher. So we've got Nolan Rucci here. Might be a good value at tackle. 6'8", 304. Good zone grade. Run blocking grade is solid. Pass block grade needs some work. Overall, a very good option this late in the draft. But I also like Tanner Kolozil. Again, another name I'm butchering here. Now, this is a player I've looked at quite a bit in mock drafts. 6'7", 520 as a tight end. Receiving grade 87.3. He's definitely a great receiver. Run block, not so much. But this would be a good receiving tight end option. Somebody that we can definitely keep in mind. We've got Cole Brevard here. Nice big body on the defensive line. Run defense grade is pretty good this late in the draft. Pass rush win rate is very good for this late in the draft. Some tough choices later on in the draft here. I'm going to add to the defensive line here Cole Brevard. Add some beef to that defensive line. All right, now we're at pick 236. We've got fullback, we've got tight end, we've got quarterback, we've got linebacker, we've got running back, we've got safety, we've got Syer Wright of Nebraska. I've seen him very often in mock drafts. We've got a tackle. What do we do here? Let's take a look at corner options. Do we look at Syer Wright here? This is the 7th round, 6 foot 190. Run defense grade is pretty solid in the 7th round. We've got a decent coverage grade. Do we add another corner to that room? Wouldn't be bad to add another corner here. And I do like the value here. So we're going to go ahead and take Syer Wright of Nebraska. I have a Cornhusker friend who would be very happy if we ended up with a Packer he could root for. So that would be interesting. All right, so let's get to 254. I would really like to add a quarterback to the mix here. We've got Jalen Daniels, Sawyer Robinson, Hayes King, who I really like in this situation. Hayes King, let's take a look at Hayes King. 6'3", 215. Passing grade is 80. Intermediate grade is 88. Deep grade is 87. No pressure grade is 91. Pressure grade is a little problematic. Keep in mind he was playing at Georgia Tech, so the level of competition is not the same. But in the 7th round, I really do like having a quarterback added to the mix here. I will take Hayes King. He does have a lot of positive features to his game, especially in the 7th round. So let's go ahead and take Hayes King. And Mr. Irrelevant, we've got Sawyer Robinson available, Joey Aguilar, Diego Pavia. The question here is, do we add another quarterback so we can have some quarterback competition? Or do we look at another position? So we have Xavier Sorley here. Don't really love what we're getting out of him. Tyreek Chappelle. Don't really like that profile. Eric O'Neill. We haven't addressed the edge position on defense yet. 6'3", 261. These numbers are pretty solid, and he had a great year in 2024. So we're hoping Eric O'Neill has a bump up as a rookie and add him to the defensive end class. So let's see if we did significantly better with our trades here. One thing PFF does is they ding you if you could have picked a higher ranked player at a position, even though they don't fit your needs. So Keontae Scott is a nickel corner. We would not select him since we need outside corners, but we get dinged here. But still, we got some good value with these trades. Ignatiosian is a B+. Darrell Jackson is an A. Markel Bell is a B+. Deontay Lawson is a B. Katron Allen is a B. Cole Brevard is an A-. Wright is a B+. Hayes King is a B minus, and Eric O'Neill is a C plus with an overall draft grade of B plus. All right, so that's a pretty solid draft here. We addressed the quarterback position twice. We addressed the defensive line twice. We got ourselves a tackle for some depth. As you know, for the Packers, a tackle can always kick in the guard. We've got a linebacker of the future. We've got a running back of the future. We've got a quarterback for development. So overall, a very solid draft. Let's do one last one here. We'll probably do a combination of trades, and maybe we'll look at some different players just to mix things up here. So we'll do one last mock draft here. Start our draft here. All right, number 1 on our board is Chase Bisontis. We don't really need a guard, certainly not at this early in the draft. So we're going to look for a trade again. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look for a trade. Again, we'll trade with the Texans, looks like. So we'll do 59, 106 for 84. Sorry, for 52. And can we get a little bit more juice here? We'll try to get an extra 7th round pick. All right. So we're up to 59 here. Now, one player we could do, which would be kind of interesting here, was look at Jake Gauldé. Great linebacker prospect, 6'4", 240. Run defense, 90.6. Coverage grade, 77.6. This would be a great option for the Green Bay Packers for a Quay Walker replacement. He would probably start week 1 for the Packers. So is that what we want to do? This is a player that could definitely be a starter for the Packers week 1 at a need. Well, let's see our trade option here. We could trade down to 80. Feels like that's given up way too much. So let's go ahead and take Gauldé here. Not a bad pick. It would be a surprising pick for the Packers, but not a bad pick. All right, now we get down to 84. We still need to address the corner position. So let's take a look at our corners here. Got Will Lee or Traylon Everett. I would definitely take Traylon Everett here. He's got solid size, 6'1", 190. Run defense grade, 90.1. So this is a corner who's really good at stopping the run. Great coverage, zone coverage grade, which is pretty solid. If we move to quarters, that would be very important. Coverage grade could use some work, but let's go ahead and take Everett because we don't want to go too far down in the draft before we address corner. All right, that gets us to 106. So at 106, we've got Will Lee here. But we really need to address the defensive line. So let's look at the interior defensive line here. We got Rayshawn Benny here. Could be a very good option. Great in the run defense. Run stop rate is above average. Pass rush grade, he's definitely more of a run stopper than a rushing the passer player. 6'4", 305. Add some beef to the defensive line. Let's go ahead and take Rayshawn Benny here. All right. Oh, and Will Lee is still on the board at 120. So this is going to be an interesting choice here. We can either go tackle or we can double up on corner. I really like Cage Casey. Let's take a look at Cage Casey here. from Boise State. 6'5", 311. Great size for a tackle. Pass block grade is 80. Gap grade is 74.3. Run block grade 75.8. True pass block grade 81.1. Getting a tackle of this caliber and this potential in the 4th round seems like a no-brainer to me. So we'll take Cage Casey here. All right. We get to pick the 5th round, and Katron Allen is still sitting there. That is a significant value, in my opinion. So we're going to run this up to the board, and we're going to take our running back for the running back room and be pretty happy about that value there. All right, we're going to go all the way down to pick 200. We've got our best value on the board is Kitzelman, 6'5", 255. Receiving grade's pretty solid. Run block grade, yeah, I don't really see the value there. Maybe. But Cole Brevard is still here. And I would really like to add some beef. I like Red Murdoch. We've already talked about him. But we already added a linebacker in the 2nd round. So let's add beef to the defensive line here. All right, pick 236. Let's take a look at our picks so far. Linebacker, corner, defensive line, tackle, running back, defensive line. So we're definitely working on the trenches. At 236, I keep coming back to Traylon Green as an option. But we're a little light on corner, and we know corner is a big need. So do we try to add some depth to the corner room? I think we do that there. I love Traylon Green here, but I think we need to add another corner. So we'll take right here from Nebraska. Oh, and Traylon Green is still there at 244. We're going to run that pick up and be pretty happy with that. All right, now we're 254. So it's really the best player available outside of corner, or outside of quarterback here. So Onawa of Ohio State. Really don't love his numbers. But we really could use some guard depth. So that's a strong choice. You know what? We're going to take Josh Moten here. I really like his value in the 7th round. So we're going to go ahead and add another corner. So that's 3 corners that we've added, really addressing the corner room. And our last pick, Mr. Irrelevant. I really like Traore of Mississippi State in the late rounds. Let's take a look at him. 6'4", 235. For the 7th round, okay receiving grade. Good drop rate, so he's a very reliable receiver. Run block grade is not great, but it is the 7th round. We do need to add a body to the tight end room. You know what? I'm actually going to go back to, Riley Nowakowski, national championship player, and he has better stats in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead and add him in the 7th round. All right. This will be our last mock draft for today. All right, so we got Jake Galladay is a B minus. Dalen Everett is an A minus. Rashawn Berry, B plus. Casey is an A. Katron Allen is a B. Cole Brevard is an A minus. Wright is a B plus. Traylon Green is a B minus. I disagree. I think he's a better value than a B minus in the 7th round. Morton is a B plus, and Nowowski is a C plus, giving us an overall grade of a B plus. We addressed linebacker far earlier than I think the Packers will in the actual draft. We addressed corner multiple times. So if we can't get a starting corner out of this draft in a year or two, it's not from a lack of trying. We addressed the defensive line several times. We addressed the offensive line. We addressed running back. And we addressed tight end. So I really like that particular mock. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Pack Attack Cast. If there's breaking news on Sunday, we'll go ahead, or Saturday, we'll go ahead and do an extra video. Otherwise, we'll probably be back to you either Sunday night or Monday morning with news and notes around the NFL. Hopefully some rumors around free agency. I do expect there will be an Elton Jenkins or a Rashawn Gary or a Rashawn Gary cut over the weekend. If so, we will drop everything and do a video, and we'll see you then. As always, go Pack Go.